Hey familia, Igni here. This video is sponsored by Cygames. Starforged Legends, the new Shadowverse expansion, is coming out really soon, like less than 24 hours from now soon. So I thought I'd take the time to talk about 5 of my personal favorite cards of the new cards from the set, as well as my general thoughts on the meta and where I think it's gonna go upon release of the new expansion. So talking about my top 5 favorite cards, for me, one of them definitely has to be Venomfang Medusa. I love the fusion mechanic. It gives the deck a sort of secondary objective to combine all the Serpents, have them survive alongside the Medusa to create Medusiana, and just end up dominating the board that way. And the fact that there's other cards like Trial of the Gorgons, Venomous Bite, Stella that can help you accomplish this means that the deck building process isn't just, you know, put the best thing in slot, but maybe also trying to accomplish a secondary objective to get that fusion off. In general, I really like when the deck building process is more interesting and varied, and this is definitely one of the effects that make that more of a reality. I think fusion in general is just super cool, coming back from Flame and Glass as well, and having it come back with another card here in Starforged Legends. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope to see more interesting stuff like this in the future as well. My second favorite here, and actually this is in no particular order, this is just my top 5 in no particular order, but one of them is for sure Mystic Ring, 1 play point, mulligan a card in your hand. I think this set in general has a lot of support for control and combo, and less hugely overpowered stuff, which I surely appreciate. And I think this could be one of the role players in making combo better than it is now. Because you essentially cycle a bricked card in your hand, and try and draw into a card that better fits the situation you're in right now. And that's going to be hugely beneficial, and because it's neutral, it can be run in all sorts of decks. I think specifically in Daria, this is going to be incredible, because one of the problems with Daria in general is that if you drew more than one Daria at a time, you had a problem in that typically you want to play your Daria and have your Daria spell boost your next Daria. With Mystic Ring, you can send back one of your Darias if you have more than one, and draw something else that's a lot better for your situation. So yeah, I think this card is really cool, and I love the mechanic as well. I think it's super interesting. The next card on my top 5 favorite list for me is Prime Dragon Keeper, and I've prattled on about this card again and again, and man, I just can't get over how much I love it. And yes, I might be biased because I did release the card reveal video for it, but I just think it's really great for Dragon that they're pushing something that isn't just pure ramp. For a long time, Dragon has had the problem of just ramp being the most efficient way to play it, and no other kind of archetype even comes close. I think this is really interesting card design because, well, first of all, it's good in aggro because 5 health is almost impossible to deal with on turn 3, especially now that Shield of Flame has been nerfed. The only thing that can really take care of this is Lurching Corpse plus Soul Conversion, or Lurching Corpse plus Demon Eater. Otherwise, it's a really sticky minion, which is really good for aggro Dragon, but it sort of lives in 2 worlds. Because it has an overflow effect, it also works well with some ramp effects to get you to that overflow faster. So you sort of have to think about, in the deck building process, how much ramp do you want to include, and how much do you want to sacrifice your follower-based early game to include that ramp, where in the follower-based early game is often the lifeblood of aggro Dragon. So I think the fact that this card pushes the another Dragon archetype without going full overboard, yet still retains an interesting quality in deck building, makes it one of my favorites. Well, I am also a Dragon main as well, so of course I would like the Dragon card, right? The next card here might just be my favorite card of the set. Unsheathed Blade is so good. Not in the fact that it's overpowered or anything, but it's super flavorful, and it opens a completely new world for sword deck building. If you can use this to summon like an Alex for a board clear, that is the perfect way to give the Swordcraft class board clear, which is what a lot of people have been calling for the longest time. Our sword has really weak board clear, but doing it in a way that's just like a straight up removal spell makes it just like any other class, and I think Unsheathed Blade is a way more elegant way of going about it, and it just makes the sword decks more interesting to build as well. And it's not just Alex, like you can also summon Leo with it and try and kill it off to get the amulet, or like tons of other possibilities that I can't even think of right now. I love these kinds of cards. Like, these are my favorite kinds of cards where you can't even see all of the possibilities, you just want to try it all out. And it's also a kind of card that gets better as time goes on, as Sword gets more followers that can benefit from this effect. I think this card is really gonna shine then as well. Yeah, so this is definitely one of my favorites. And speaking of cards like that, here's Aether of the White Wing, one of the new Haven legendaries. I actually like both of the Haven legendaries a lot, but I like Aether of the White Wing because, like I said, it's like that kind of card where you don't even know all of the possibilities and you just want to try them all out. On curve, it can summon a Tenko for a Lana-style dex, which is quite powerful. Or, you know, you could also summon a Lelia on turn 7, which is going to make that super fun. You can summon a Heresy's Avatar, the other legendary. On turn 8, you can summon an Aegis on turn 10. Like, this card has so many applications, and it makes deck building so interesting. And that's, like I said, those are my favorite kinds of cards, where you just want to try it with all sorts of things. And I like that it gives all the allied followers +1 health as well. That really fits with Haven and the aesthetic of Haven. And the fact that Aether is like this light side legendary and Heresy's Avatar is like a dark side legendary, I think is also super cool. Yeah, so Aether of the White Wing, really looking forward to playing with this one. I want to see what I can play this with. Tenko seems super good, Lelia seems super fun, and a whole other smorgasbord of possibilities, especially as time goes on. Again, it's one of those cards where as Haven gets more followers with more and more expansions over time, the effect of this is also going to benefit. Honorable mention to Star Eater Stella. I think this card is super cool, and controlled RNG like this can be healthy for the game as well. And the fact that it's pushing a controlling rune archetype with the cards that you get from Stella, I think that's also quite interesting. But you know what, it's a top 5, so sorry Stella, just didn't make it. In general, I think the expansion is giving a lot of support to control and combo. I sort of mentioned this a little bit when I was talking about Mystic Ring. This expansion has so much card draw, like Chain of Calling, and so much combo support, like Airbound Barrage, that I think combo in general is going to make a bit of a comeback. And control has also received a lot of tools in this expansion, with really efficient removal, as well as lots of different cards that have Ward and Rush. I feel like in an attacker's choice game, aggro and mid-range are basically always going to be viable. So seeing them push other archetypes to be a bit more effective is encouraging. Hopefully this support for control and combo helped to push the first turn advantage closer towards 50% as well, because that would be ideal. I'm also really glad that they didn't publish any Spawn of the Abyss type cards to push certain classes anymore, and the hope with that is that deck diversity increases, as no one thing is too broken. Let's see how it plays out when the expansion releases, and again, it releases very, very soon, so that's pretty exciting. Those are my thoughts on my top 5 personal favorite cards of the expansion, as well as some thoughts on the meta in general. Like the video if you did, don't if you didn't, subscribe for more Shadowverse content, and Starforged Legends content very soon! And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons, patreon.com/Ignideus. If you want to help support the channel as well, I would highly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.